I would love to walk you through the Pioneer Challenge, which is a new experiment we're going to be running over the course of May. Often startups are faced really with this problem of really good founders who don't really know what to build. We see a lot of these people on Pioneer. And it often comes in tandem with another problem folks have, which is finding customers to talk to about what you might want to build is hard. It's of course easy to build software for yourself, but in enterprise software, there's so many interesting things to build where you may not be the immediate prospective customer, but getting to people and interacting with them and figuring out if what you're building is right or not is hard. And so we are going to attempt to help you with that. We are going to attempt to fix both of those problems for you. This is what we're calling the Pioneer Challenge. It is a monthly challenge to build a specific product with a specific goal in mind. The Pioneer Tournament will continue as usual, but we're going to launch in tandem with that the opportunity to kind of focus everyone who's interested on a specific kind of thing at once. So we're hopefully going to get hundreds of teams to kind of compete and build the same thing. The winning team will be formed into a company, get a $10,000 investment, get introductions to 5 trial customers who will have given them feedback on their product and progress. And importantly, the people who will be making the kind of final arbitration call on who's good and who's bad aren't experts, they're the customers themselves. It's kind of an interesting feedback loop in a way. At a high level, the kind of rough format, and then I'm going to quickly walk you through, is that we're going to start off by just having people register, describe a little bit about themselves. And then over the course of every single week, people will have the opportunity to kind of progress from doing customer research on this thing to building a prototype, to an alpha, to a beta, and further. So the first step, thank you. The first step is to register with a little bit of information about yourself. And you can do this by going to Pioneer.app/May and apply with some information about who you are, and importantly, some other projects that you've built that speak a little bit to the fact that you've done some fun stuff on the internet. You don't have to be pedigreed or have a big background or big degree. Just show the world some interesting links of what you've built. The hardest task you're going to have is, you can see right there in the project title, you're going to have to come up with a name of what you want to call whatever that you're building. So hopefully that doesn't take you too long. You can start registering today. After that, on Sunday, we're going to take everyone who registered and we're going to do a group audio-only Zoom call. This will be a fairly low-key manner for you to potentially meet some of the other players competing, maybe find a co-founder, and just get a sense of kind of who's around. Again, no video, audio only. You can beat anyone you want in the world. Every Friday, you'll be submitting a video to Frontier, either a demo or a video to Frontier about your progress. You can also use Frontier to vote on the progress that other people have done. Our customers then will subsequently pick their top favorites. Note that you can submit to Frontier software that you've built, an actual prototype, like a Loom walkthrough, like the one you see here, where you're kind of just detailing your progress, but no PowerPoints, please. So even though I'm using Keynote for this, you're not allowed to submit something like that. And then every Sunday, we're going to take the top submissions, send them to these 5 prospective customers, and they're going to kind of click on what they think is most interesting. And then we'll cut the group in half, week over week over week, based on who the customers think are most interesting. The winning company will get a $10,000 investment. We'll take them from being a project into a company in return for 5% of the company. We'll introduce them to all of these customers, and hopefully the team will be off to the races. So this is kind of what the calendar looks like. You can kind of get a sense. Registration is today, starts Wednesday. We're going to do that call on Sunday, and then every single week you'll be doing demos, and we'll be cutting down the number of active players in this challenge from 50 all the way down 5 weeks from now to 2 or 3 finalists. So it's kind of like March Madness, except in software. If you don't want to work on this, but you happen to know a great team and you refer them to us and that team wins, we will only retain 4.5% of the company and give you 0.5% of them. Zendesk is $8.5 billion company. So that would be hundreds of millions of dollars in equity value if you happen to refer the winning company. And so, as I just alluded to earlier, you may be wondering, what is the challenge for May? What do we all build together? Well, we think a really interesting thing to work on would be a new form of Zendesk. Zendesk is customer support software. It's an $8.5 billion public company. It's used by many different startups, large-scale companies, and it's good, not great, and it's time to build something great. Now, here scattered before you in a minute, you're going to see some interesting ideas for what building a better Zendesk may be. And I'm going to walk through them quickly, too quickly for you to really pay attention to what's good and bad. That's because you really need to do the research. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But at a high level, how would you make a better Zendesk? Well, a couple of things come to mind. One, being able to immediately show every customer service rep a kind of reportive style context on the Salesforce entry of the customer that they're talking to. How large ticket is this? How important is this customer? You can kind of manually configure this in Zendesk today, but making it automated, we think, would be a killer feature. High value customer alerts when an important customer emails in, based again on Salesforce integration. Robust kind of customer identification and authentication. You know how sometimes you email support and you email from the wrong email and they don't understand who you are and it takes forever. Fix that. Make the interface as fast as Superhuman's email. Make it very easy for companies to remove PII if the customer accidentally sends it into them, which is a huge issue for a large business. Send responses that look normal. You know, we all get responses from customer support software and you kind of immediately get the sense that it's like not a real human. Have the responses look like a Gmail reply. Keyboard shortcuts, built-in text expander, which is incredibly popular amongst customer support. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, I don't know what any of this means. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? Well, that's okay. That's okay, because really the first goal that you would have would be to find customers to talk to about this. One of the reasons why we picked this particular project and task is because unlike, say, building software for CFOs, there are thousands of users, customer support reps you can interview. You don't have to go email the CEO of a company to get a sense of how to build customer support. In fact, the CEO won't know. You want to email someone on the front lines of support, and there are thousands, tens of thousands of these people you can easily access an interview. So doing customer research here is pretty easy. So next steps for you. Next steps for you would be, if you're interested in this, if you're not working on something and you're kind of thinking to yourself, man, the world is on hold. What should I do with my life? Well, if you can code and you can make software, this is an interesting opportunity. You have to come up with a name, which I happen to think is probably the hardest part of this whole adventure. Visit pioneer.app/May, make a little entry for yourself, and register, ideally by Sunday. And that is our first Pioneer Challenge. This is an experiment. We're going to try and run it together. And if it ends up working, then I don't know, we'll do more of them.